folks. I'm between you and lunch, never a pleasant state to be in. Let me jump in right ahead. My good friend Tushar talked to you about having impacted 1 million lives, which is truly tremendous. What if you had to impact 1 billion? That's not million plus plus, 1,000 times more. I've had the fortune of living 4 lives in one lifetime. The life of a corporate, an entrepreneur, and as part of UIDI and Aadhaar government, and now as philanthropy. It's the 3rd and 4th lives that taught me how to innovate at the scale of 1 billion. And one of the most momentous days of my life was this day. Anyone recognizes what that is? Aadhaar, no points for that. What specifically is it? You can't read it. It is the very first Aadhaar ever issued to Ranjana Sonwane. The reason I have the photo is I literally slept with the first 10 Aadhaars the previous night, 28th September, because the next day the Prime Minister would have to physically hand over Aadhaars, and at the last moment, if that was not found, it's going to be very embarrassing. So I literally slept with it next to my pillow. As I was going to sleep, I realized that I was looking at what would be a piece of history. We didn't have phones with cameras and all. Took out my phone, a camera, took a photo of it, went to sleep. Next day, the Aadhaar was launched. Anybody here does not have Aadhaar? Raise your hand. Yeah, there are 1.43 billion of you with Aadhaars. And that time we didn't know it, but it was something that changed India. But it was something that we not only anticipated, we imagined. And that's why Aadhaar was never positioned as a solution, ID solution, like you have PAN card and passport. It was positioned as an enabler, identity as an enabler, Aadhaar as an enabler. It was envisioned as infrastructure, not as a solution. And it was envisioned as a foundation on which a digital India could be built over the next 20 to 50 years. Which is the reason I named it Aadhaar Foundation. Another practical reason is the word Aadhaar means the same. It exists in all of our languages, which is quite unique. The important thing there was to arrive at why it should be infrastructure, we had to think of it being extremely minimal. And as we analyzed, and that's where the entrepreneurial and corporate career comes in, we realized that in the value chain of service delivery, the very first step is who are you? That's the only problem we said as Aadhaar we will solve. Are you who you say you are? I am Shankar Maruwada. UIDI will say yes or no, 1 or 0, nothing else. That simplicity laid the foundation for what would transform India. And over the last 15 years, in addition to Aadhaar issuing 1.43 billion identities, it also enabled $500 billion of government's money across center and state, across 1,000 direct benefit programs, reaching 890 million people, because government wanted to solve its problem of inclusion. On the other hand, as I said, Aadhaar was an infrastructure. It was meant for others to innovate on top. Jio launched in 2016, and within 6 months could ramp up to 100 million users, because you could now do a KYC electronically, eKYC. That's also how 500 million new bank accounts were opened. That's also how the cost of eKYC reduced by not 10%, but 100 times lower. From 1,500 to 2,000 rupees, it reduced to now practically 15-20 rupees. A simple innovation which enabled both inclusion by governments and innovation by markets. It's a well-known research that in 8 years, India managed to do what experts globally said would take us 46 years, which is go from 18% financial inclusion to 80%. There are several other such stories, but over the last 15 years, It's not just Aadhaar. Anybody here uses UPI? Raise your hand. Anybody here uses FASTag? Raise your hand. Uses DigiYatra? Raise your hand. You'll keep raising your hand for all of these, right? Because these are all designed to work collectively with each other. DigiYatra uses Aadhaar face authentication and also your documents which are stored in DigiLocker. During COVID, India created CoWIN, which issued 2 billion digitally verifiable certificates which you could access anywhere. 1 billion Indians, 2 vaccinations. All of this seem like Star Trek to other countries, but in India it's quite normal. We didn't have a phrase for it then, but over time, if you're doing something again and again, you need to call it something. You can't say, oh, that which we did. So the name DPI was coined, or Digital Public Infrastructure. There are several other examples. Sahemati, where there are 112 million account holders who consent to share their data in return for getting a better loan or something, financial products, and $20 billion of loan have been given out. DigiLocker, 350 million Indians, 7 billion documents. FASTag. So all of these are not accidental, and none of these were started by market. All of them were started keeping India's billion plus in mind. Each had a specific purpose. Each was built by a different government department, but they were all designed to work with each other. And as a country, we have learned a lot about how to do this again and again and again. The DPIs have also disrupted because of a whole bunch of startups, many out of Bangalore, who have built their businesses on top of this. You would know PhonePe, of course, Zerodha. First few years, they had customers in tens of thousands. But after UPI was launched, within a couple of years, their number of customers increased by a factor of 10. Because, as I said, eKYC could come down, customers could invest small amounts, and UPI and all allowed that to happen. More recent companies are beginning totally digitally native and building on top of all of this. And you will hear more of them in the coming days. As Nikhil Kamath said, they just happen to be the right place at the right time. The sound here is not working, but this is just a summary of what DPI is. Maybe you can just read the subtitles if you can. These are very famous people who have explained what it is. OK, they're trying again. Still no sound.
I believe that technology can actually transform a society, can improve lives, can do financial inclusion, then can create economic growth in a more equitable manner, and so on.
DPI has some inherent features like interoperability, openness, low-cost access, and transparency, making it inclusive by design.
This is the way of technology. Cost structures come down, accessibility goes up, and then people innovate on top of open platforms to be able to create applications and benefits for customers or citizens.
I have seen how inclusive DPIs can have a transformative impact on even the poorest households and businesses.
It brings in so many people who are on the margins of society to now participate in economic opportunity.
It makes the inaccessible accessible. It allows the excluded to be included.
How many think DPI can be applied, the ideas of DPI can be applied in AI? Raise your hand. OK, not too many, minority. In the next 10 minutes, let me change that view. We applied a DPI approach to AI. What was done, and this was funded by EkStep Foundation, is 5 years ago, before the Gen AI revolution, we realized that for AI to work in India, it needs to deliver in the local language. And as you know, in AI, the starting point is always data. India did not have good language data. Whatever data was there was online, mostly in English and Hindi, and that too, it was there with the big tech players. So strategically, as a country, we had to collect Indian language data, which As EkStep Foundation of Philanthropy, we funded IIT Madras AI for Bharat to do that. Over the last few years, they have collected fabulous amount of Indic language data, text, speech, under the AI for Bharat initiative. This data set is completely open. Anybody can access it. And over the last few years, many have. This is a kind of approach that we believe in is needed, where you create these building blocks of innovation for $1 billion. This building block is just language data. No models, no applications. Anyone can take that and build their models on top of that. Second, there is already an AI-based DPI by the Government of India, Ministry of Information Technology. It's called Bhashini. It already has served upwards of 300 million customers. How does it do that? It provides AI language services to other government departments, state or central. And there are several departments that have started to use it. It's early days. But what happens is, like you had with direct benefit transfer and inclusion, government departments don't have to worry about creating their own language models, about creating their own compute and their own language infrastructure. They just contract Bhashini to do that for them. There's also AI in DPI. If DPI in India reaches billions, can't we make those DPIs better with AI? Answer is yes. When you use DigiYatra, your face is being scanned to see whether you say who you are. That is AI at work. In UPI, there are several people who are not very comfortable with digital literacy, with typing, etc. Can they speak on the phone and say, "Mere papa ko 200 rupees bhej dena"? Experiments are happening as we speak by NPCI. Beyond these, we need to solve our education problem, agriculture problem, jobs problem, many other sectoral problems, including health. How does AI work there? This is work in progress, but let me share a few examples so that you'll see how things are happening and how a DPI approach is working. First is agriculture. Here, as you will see, it's not just AI that is needed to scale to $1 billion. You need other ideas like open networks in addition to DPI. Few initiatives I will talk and show about. And remember, this is massively complex. We've been working on it for more than 2+ years as the EkStep Foundation. We think it'll take another 3-4 years before we can solve the problem. The first example is Kisan Mitra, which is like a bot provided by the Government of India to farmers to see the status of the benefits that are due to them. There's a lot of data about a particular farmer with various departments of the government, whether they've got access to benefits, about their farm holding, etc. These are lying in various data silos. AI is showing the ability to connect those silos in real time to answer the question about the farmer after confirming the farmer's identity. It also means dipping into the agriculture-specific knowledge that we have collected over our 124 national research institutes, making sure the data and that research is good, putting it together in the language the farmer asks, and then answering it. Small demo.
सॉइल हेल्थ कार्ड से क्या फ़ायदा होगा?
देखिए, सॉइल हेल्थ कार्ड का सबसे बड़ा फायदा ये है कि इससे आपको अपनी खेत की मिट्टी के बारे में पूरी जानकारी मिल जाती है। इस कार्ड में आपकी जमीन की पोषक तत्वों की स्थिति बताई जाती है, जैसे नाइट्रोजन, फास्फोरस, पोटाश, जिंक, आयरन और बाकी सारे जरूरी माइक्रोन्यूट्रिएंट्स, साथ ही पीएच और अनऑर्गेनिक कार्बन जैसी बातें भी साफ साफ लिखी होती हैं।
ठीक है, मैं ख्याल रखूंगी। लेकिन यूरिया ज्यादा देने से क्या प्रॉब्लम होता है? बहुत
अच्छा सवाल पूछा आप। देखिए, यूरिया अगर जरूरत से ज्यादा खेत में डाल दी जाए तो इसका नुकसान फसल और जमीन दोनों को होता है। सबसे पहली दिक्कत तो ये आती है कि पौधों में सिर्फ पत्तियां खूब हरी हो जाती हैं, लेकिन दाने और फल कम लगते हैं, यानी उपज घट जाती है।
This demo in reality is way more difficult because there are actual databases. You need data permissions. You have to keep privacy in mind. There are governmental restrictions. How do you procure this? So at scale, you'll encounter those problems that does not seem to be a problem when you're just demoing. It's not just the central government. Maharashtra, because agriculture is a state subject, and a state like Maharashtra is also innovating, using the building blocks of Bhashini and AI for Bharat to create its own AI-based solutions. Even a state provides a lot of funds directly as their DBT. They also have a lot more data that are relevant to the farmer because it's local data. These data are also lying in various silos, in addition to the data that the government of India has about its schemes. What is Mahavistar? I'll let the Maharashtra government explain it.
अनिल दादा, आपल्या शेतीसाठी बरेच ॲप निघाले, पण कोणत्या ॲपवर विश्वास ठेवावा हे समजून न राहिलं ना.
अरे म्हणूनच तर महाराष्ट्र शासनाच्या कृषी विभागानं महाविस्तार हे अधिकृत ॲप आणलं आहे. या ॲपमध्ये हवामान, माती, मंडई तसेच शासकीय योजना यांची माहिती एकत्रितपणे उपलब्ध आहे. हां, विशेष म्हणजे हे ॲप मराठीत सुद्धा आहे आणि चॅटबॉटमार्फत शेतकऱ्यांसाठी स्थानिक परिस्थिती आणि त्यांच्या वैयक्तिक गरजेनुसार सल्लासुद्धा ॲपमध्ये उपलब्ध आहे.
अरे वा, पण हे ॲप वापरायचं कसं?
सोपं आहे. गुगल प्ले स्टोअरवर जाऊन महाविस्तार असं सर्च कर. ॲप इन्स्टॉल केल्यावर त्यात तुला वेगवेगळी पर्याय दिसतील. पीक सल्लावर क्लिक केलं तर कोणत्याही पिकाच्या पूर्व मशागतीपासून तर काढणीपर्यंत विविध टप्प्यातील वैज्ञानिक सल्ला याच्यामध्ये तुला पाहता येईल. आणि बाजारभावावर क्लिक केलं तर महाराष्ट्रातील वेगवेगळ्या मंडीतले काय दर चालू आहेत ते अति बसूनच तपासता येईल. आणि हां, विशेष म्हणजे व्हिडिओ ऑप्शनवर गेला तर साध्या आणि सोप्या भाषेत आपल्याला आपल्या उपयोगाचे व्हिडिओ याच्यामध्ये पाहायला भेटतील.
The architecture matters a lot. It's not just one AI app or a bot. All of these information lying with various institutions in various data silos, how can they be connected? That's where ideas of open network come in. Beacon protocol is used, on which ONDC is also based. So simple question like, can I grow soya in my field? The government knows the farmer, knows about the farm, because all of these registries exist. It has to get the data about soya, about the weather and whatever is there, and when the answer is your plot indicates suitability for soya, go ahead. The farmer will trust the app because it's a government of Maharashtra app. That trust is sacred. So the answer and the AI has to be safe, accountable, and the answer has to be relevant. Because it's an open network, it allows every state to create their own networks and then connect it to the government of India. So beyond the hype, what AI's really superpower is the ability to better coordinate data, workflows, knowledge streams across multiple stakeholders. We are all seduced by LLM and all of that. But its real power, if you go beyond the 6 inches, the surface, this is the superpower that will take years to unravel. Because essentially what will happen is power will shift within organizations, within an ecosystem. Power will shift from the technology and the data which is lying in silos, controlled by the IT folks, to the frontline users of data. That is painful, but that is the true power that AI will unleash. 25 years ago, when we had the internet revolution, also we realized that the real power of internet is reconfiguring your entire business around it, which is not the same as bolting internet onto existing, which is what I see a lot of organizations doing, bolting AI onto existing systems. But the true power of AI is to reconfigure your system so that you can better coordinate resources. Scaling AI is hard because it's the first time in our civilization that we are having to trust non-human intelligence for decision making. In the enterprise sector, it's even harder because there is unrealistic expectations and a lot of focus on spend as opposed to value, which Tushar also highlighted. But in the public sector, it's hardest because how do you procure? You have structural constraints, you have old systems, and whatever you do will always face public scrutiny. Whatever you do, you have to also serve those who can't afford to buy you, the marginalized. And that is what will lead India to scaling to billions. Similarly, there are efforts in education. It's not as simple as personalized learning the way a lot of us think, Khan, me, go and all. I'll show this example to explain specifically a targeted problem that EkStep we are solving. Okay, let me just see if I can go back. Yeah. Okay, so watch this thing. We'll skip that.
Fluency in reading and math unlocks possibilities. But the journey to fluency takes time and practice. Children need a judgment-free safe space where they can practice without anxiety. This practice has to be personalized to enable each child to learn at their own pace. This is only possible when the solution is embedded within the existing school system. The Assisted Language and Math Learning Program by the EkStep Foundation attempts to do just this. AXL is an AI-powered learning solution which currently includes assisted language learning and assisted math learning.
Before I come to jobs, what you saw is something which 5 states are implementing. The AI is not sophisticated, getting the exact solution and how a government procures to implement it, that's the main thing. We have a lot of youth who looking for jobs and a lot of jobs looking for youth. AI allows us to change the paradigm from the job seeker looking for a job to a job looking for a job seeker. Currently, 80% of a tier 2, tier 3 colleges do not have a digital profile. That's why you'll see a lot of trees where you have their, we need people, etc. Honest is an initiative, open networks for employability and scaling transformation, which is creating what we call as blue dots. On your phone, you are a blue dot when you look for Uber, and that's how the map is created around you. That allows taxis to see you, pizzas to be delivered to you. Can we do the same with jobs? It's an exciting initiative. We believe AI can be the bridge to the next billion. Why? Because you're not constrained by speaking only in English or Hindi. You can speak in your native languages. You're not constrained only by typing. You can talk, you can see videos and react to that. It's not just a search answer and a set of links you have to go through. You ask the question and you can get the answer. Put all of these together, you can have a conversation with some agent you trust who gives you back the answer you need. The last 15 years saw us go rapidly to 500 million digitally active citizens. The next 10 years, we believe the next billion will also come on board. This is the equation that will make India the use case capital of the world. I want you to remember it. DPI plus OpenAI, when combined with DPI plus open networks, when combined with AI, in 10 years, it won't be called digital public infrastructure. In India, we'll call it digital public intelligence. This is the opportunity economy that is being forged. Now, how many of you believe that DPI can work in AI? Raise your hand. Okay, looks like I've convinced most of you. Thank you.